The betrayal the stars were burning. War had spread across the galaxy like a disease, infecting every system, every world. Planets once full of life were now empty. Dust, silence. In the middle of that chaos, two powers stood together, Earth and the Veltrax Dominion. Humans had only joined the galactic stage 50 years ago. At first, the Veltrax laughed at them. Earth was small, weak, full of emotion. But when the Karnak swarm appeared, an insect-like species that consumed everything, in its path, it was humanity who fought with fire in their hearts. The Veltrax needed help. So they offered an alliance. Earth agreed. Together, they pushed the Karnak back. Soldiers died. Worlds were saved. Trust grew. But trust can be a fragile thing. General Layla Trent, commander of Earth's main fleet, stood inside the command bridge of the warship Nova Flame. Outside, the stars looked peaceful, but she knew better. Today was a big battle. The Veltrax had promised backup. Without them, Earth's fleet would be exposed. "We're ready, General," said Captain Reyes, her second in command. But still no sign of the Veltrax ships. Layla stared at the screen. They said they'd be here by now. The Karnak swarm arrived like a storm. Thousands of ships, claws and teeth and black metal. Earth's fleet stood their ground. They fought hard. They burned through enemy lines. Explosions lit the sky like fireworks. But Earth was outnumbered. For every Karnak ship destroyed, 5 more took its place. And the Veltrax? They never came. Layla kept sending messages. No answer. Her hands tightened around the edge of the console. Where are they? We trusted them. Hours passed. The battle turned into a massacre. Earth's ships were falling one by one. Layla knew what was happening now. They had been betrayed. On a nearby planet called Alaris 7. Human soldiers fought in the sin. Dirt. Sergeant Kamel dragged his injured squadmate behind cover. They promised support. Where is the airstrike? It never came. The skies were silent. In space, the Nova Flame was hit. Systems were failing. Fire spread across the bridge. Layla stood in the smoke, coughing, bleeding, but not broken. "Send the last message to Earth," she said. "Let them know we were betrayed." Reyes nodded. Then he was gone, the blast taking him and half the crew. The screen flickered. The stars vanished. 7 years later, the Veltrax Empire was peaceful again. The Karnak had been pushed back mostly by the sacrifices of Earth's forces. But the Veltrax told a different story. In their version, it was their strength, their bravery, that had won the war. The truth was buried. Earth was listed as missing, presumed extinct. No one asked questions. No one wanted to, but in a quiet system, on the edge of Veltrax space, something strange happened. A patrol ship, Veltrax 91, was scanning the asteroid field of Sector K-12. It was supposed to be empty, cold, dead. "Captain, I have something on sensors," said the crew officer. "A rock?" the captain asked. "No. It's metal. A ship. Large. No ID." The captain leaned forward. The screen showed a dark shape between the rocks. Long, silent, and familiar. He zoomed in. His eyes widened. "That's human design," he whispered. "But they're gone," said the officer. "They were destroyed in the war." The screen glitched for a second. Then the unknown ship was gone. Just disappeared. The Veltrax. Crew scanned for hours. Nothing. Not even a signal. Back at Veltrax High Command, the captain filed the report. It was ignored. Veltrax didn't believe in ghosts. But that was just the beginning. In a secret Veltrax research base on Vornis 3, alarms blared. Doors locked. Lights flickered. Security cameras went black. When the rescue team arrived the next morning, they found every scientist gone. No bodies, no blood. Just a message burned into the floor. We remember. The Veltrax leaders called it a terrorist attack. They blamed rebels, pirates, but some of the older generals, the ones who had fought beside humans, knew better. In the Yatzia. Shadows, something was moving. Watching. Waiting. A storm was coming, and it had a human face. Asterisk whispers in the stars. The Veltrax dominion was powerful on the surface. Their cities were still shining. Their fleets were still patrolling the skies. Their leaders still gave speeches about peace and strength. But something was wrong. At first, it was small. A lost cargo ship. A satellite that went silent. A scout team that never came back. Veltrax officials blamed it on technical failures, pirates, accidents. But General Kavar wasn't so sure. He had served in the war against the Karnak. He had seen humans fight bravely, fiercely, without fear. And he had seen them left behind. He never spoke about it. He had followed orders. But some nights, when he closed his eyes, he still saw the faces of the human soldiers who had once called him brother. Now, all these strange events. Something didn't add up. Another comm station lost in sectors 8 to 14, said his aide. That's the third one this month. Kavar replied. Same signs? No distress call? No survivors. No wreckage, just gone. Kavar stood in silence. Are you sure it's not the rebels? His aide hesitated. There's more. We found a message. Burned into the hull of the last station. He handed Kavar a datapad. The words were simple. For Earth. In a secret meeting at Veltrax High Command, military leaders gathered. Screens showed reports from across the Empire. Mining colonies lost contact. Supply convoys disappearing. Listening posts wiped clean. They're testing us, one admiral said. Whoever it is, they're watching, learning. Could it be the Karnak again? Asked another. No, Kavar said. This is precise. Smart. Karnak don't. Leave messages. Silence filled the room. Then someone whispered what no one dared to say. Humans? Impossible, replied the Supreme Commander. They were destroyed in the war. We saw it. Did we? Kavar asked. On the edge of Veltrax territory, a ship drifted silently in the void. No lights, no signal. Not on any sensor. Inside, a small team of humans stood in darkness. Their armor was matte black. No logos. No names. Just scars. Commander Silas Ward watched the Veltrax transport below through a hologram. Phase 3 confirmed, said his operator. Another supply. Route down. Silas nodded. Good. No kills. No bodies. Just disappear them. What about the message? He paused. Leave it. The message was simple. You chose survival over honor. Now we choose silence over mercy. Across the Veltrax Empire, fear began to spread. Soldiers whispered of ghost. Soldiers, human shadows who moved through walls, spoke no words, and left nothing behind. Citizens spoke of glowing eyes in the dark. Strange sounds at night. Whole towns waking up to find their leaders missing. Veltrax media denied it all. But the people knew something was happening. On the colony world Tesser 9, a young student named Viren hacked into a restricted channel out of curiosity. What he found shocked him. An old war video. Human soldiers abandoned during the Karnak siege. Veltrax ships leaving them behind. They were screaming, calling for help. The signal cut out. Viren couldn't sleep that night. For the first time in his life, he wondered, are we the villains in this story? General Kavar sat alone in his office, staring at the stars through a glass wall. A message had just been sent to him. No sender, no origin. Just a short, sharp audio clip. A voice. Human, calm, cold. We waited. We watched. You wrote lies. into history. Now we write truth into silence. Kavar's hands trembled. It wasn't war. Not yet, but it was coming. He could feel it like thunder far away. He whispered to himself, "What have we done?" The ghost fleet, nobody had seen them. No satellite caught them. No warning was given. But across the stars, powerful fleets were falling without a fight. They came from nowhere and left nothing behind. The Veltrax started calling it a myth, a story, to scare new recruits, the Ghost Fleet. But deep down, they knew it was real. On the far side of the galaxy, hidden inside a dead nebula, floated Base Echo-1. It was invisible to all sensors. Its surface was made of adaptive plating technology, far beyond what the Veltrax believed humans could create. Inside the base, engineers worked in silence. Fighters were cleaned, repaired, then launched without a sound. In a large control chamber, Admiral Layla Trent stood before a large map of the galaxy. Red lights marked Veltrax colonies, supply chains, military outposts, and one by one, those red lights were going dark. "Report," she said quietly. Commander Silas Ward stepped forward. "We've crippled 4 more logistics points. No casualties, no detection, and no response." "Good." Layla nodded. Her face was older now, sharper, but her eyes still held fire. "They left us in the dark," she said. "Now we'll teach them what the dark feels like." Years ago, Earth had been almost wiped out. The Veltrax betrayal had left billions dead. But Earth was not broken. Survivors escaped through hidden wormholes and deep space gates. Some settled on forgotten moons. Some drifted for years. And some, like Layla, refused to run. They built. Secretly, slowly, they stole Veltrax technology, improved it, reinvented it. They learned how to make ships that couldn't be seen, weapons that left no trace, and engines that made no sound. They became invisible. They became the Ghost Fleet. On the Veltrax colony world Nerith Prime, a grand military parade was being held. Marching troops, flying banners, speeches about unity and strength. Then everything went black. The skies darkened. The power shut off. Every screen went blank, and a voice echoed across the city. A human voice. "You left us for dead. You watched as we burned. Now we come as shadow and silence." Then the lights returned, but the statue of the Veltrax war hero in the city center was gone. In its place stood a human flag, one not seen in over a decade. Inside Veltrax High Command, panic spread. "This is terrorism," shouted Admiral Jervil. "No," said General Kavar. "This is strategy." He pointed to a screen showing the damaged colonies. Not destroyed, disabled. No life lost. No civilian harm. This isn't chaos. It's a message. A warning. Kavar. Turn to the room. We didn't kill the humans. We created them, this version of them. We made ghosts. The other generals went silent. They were realizing the truth too late. Meanwhile, in Base Echo-1, a young human pilot named Kira Holt trained in a simulation room. Her mission: enter enemy space, disable a warship's engine, and leave undetected. She finished it in 2 minutes. No alarms. No shots fired. She removed her helmet and smiled. "Is this what revenge feels like?" she asked her instructor. "No," he said. "This is just the beginning." A day later, a Veltrax dreadnought, the pride of their fleet, was found floating in space. No damage. No crew. Just a symbol burned into the metal hull. A single human hand, holding a shattered Alliance medallion. General Kavar sat in his private quarters, reading the old war reports. He opened a hidden drawer and pulled out an old photograph. Him and Layla Trent, shaking hands during the Alliance. He stared at it for a long time. Then his terminal lit up. An anonymous message. No sender. Just a video. Layla Trent, alive. Her voice calm, her eyes sharp. Kavar, I don't want your empire. I want your truth. You betrayed us. Now the galaxy will know. The screen went dark. Kavar leaned back in his chair. For the first time in years, he felt something he hadn't felt since the war. Guilt. Also fear. Because the Ghost Fleet was no longer a myth. It was real. And it was coming. Asterisk. Cracks in the empire. The Veltrax Dominion had ruled for centuries. Their empire stretched across stars. Their laws were absolute. Their armies were feared. But now, something was wrong. Ships vanished without trace. Colonies lost contact. People whispered strange words in the dark. They're back. The humans have returned. Ghosts walk among. U.S. High Command denied everything, but fear doesn't ask for permission. General Kavar stood at the top of the Veltrax Capitol Tower, looking down at the crowds. What was once pride had turned into protest. Citizens waved banners, not for the Dominion, but against it. One sign read, "What did we do to the humans?" Another, "Truth or nothing." Kavar turned to his advisor. "How bad is it?" The advisor looked pale. 17 colonies are refusing orders. Military officers are resigning. Civilians want answers. Kavar sighed. And we have none. Across the empire, rumors were growing. On the desert world Thronax 4, a Veltrax soldier found a hidden transmitter. It was playing an old human broadcast recorded during the war. We trusted the Veltrax. We fought beside them. Then they left us to burn. People gathered in secret to watch. They cried. Some even knelt in silence. For the first time, they saw the truth. And the truth was ugly. In a dark meeting room inside the Veltrax Senate. Leaders screamed at each other. "This is all lies," said one senator. "Propaganda." "Then explain the missing dreadnought," yelled another. "Explain why children are drawing human flags in the streets. The humans are dead." A voice cut through the noise. "No," Kavar said. "They're very much alive." The room fell silent. Kavar placed a small device on the table. A hologram appeared. Admiral Layla Trent, calm and composed. "You turned your back on us. Now the galaxy will turn its back on you." No one spoke. Some couldn't even breathe. In secret bunkers across Veltrax space, resistance groups started forming. Not rebels. TRUTHSEEKERS.VEL. Trax scientists, soldiers, civilians, all who believed the government had lied. They didn't want war. They wanted answers. One young soldier, Turin Val, hacked into a restricted archive. What he found changed his life. Earth's final transmissions. Calls for help. Proof of betrayal. He uploaded it across the network. Within hours, half the Empire had seen it. Meanwhile, the Ghost Fleet watched from the shadows. Commander Silas Ward sat inside the Eclipse-class warship Silent Dawn, watching the chaos unfold on his screens. "No shots fired," he said. "And they're already falling apart." Admiral Layla Trent appeared on the main screen. "We keep pressure. No mass strikes. Let their guilt do the damage." Silas smiled. "Like rotting wood. Break them from the inside." But not everyone. Inside the Ghost Fleet agreed. Young pilot Kira Holt slammed her fist into the console. "They betrayed us. Burned our people alive. Why are we playing games?" "Because revenge isn't justice," Layla answered. Kira looked down, silent. She had never seen Earth. She was born in hiding, trained in shadows. For her, war wasn't memory. It was identity. Layla walked over and placed a hand on her shoulder. "When the time comes, they'll face us in the open. Then we strike." In the Veltrax capital, something new happened. A small bomb went off at the gates of the Senate Hall, not by humans, but by Veltrax civilians. They didn't want to kill. They wanted Attention dot, and they got it dot news spread fast. Veltrax citizens demand truth about the human war. The leaders were cornered. The cracks were spreading. The silence was ending dot in his private chamber. Kavar stood alone again. He stared at a screen showing a map of the Empire. More red zones. More dark colonies. More unrest. His eyes burned from lack of sleep. Another message appeared. From the humans, only 3 words. Your lies bleed. Truth and fire. The stars over Veltrax Prime were quiet. 2. Quiet. No ships moved. No patrols scanned the borders. It was as if the entire Empire was holding its breath. High above the capital, in low orbit, floated a single human ship, Nova's echo-shrouded in dark armor. No lights, no name, just purpose. Inside, Admiral Layla Trent stood in her uniform, staring at the planet below. Her fingers brushed a medal once given by Veltrax High Command. Before they betrayed her, they're waiting, Commander Silas Ward said. No, she replied, but this time we don't come with guns. On the surface, General Kavar walked alone toward a private landing site. No guards, no weapons, just silence. He hadn't slept in days. The messages, the protests, the crumbling of the Empire. He had tried to hold it together, but the past doesn't stay, buried forever. A shuttle touched down. The ramp lowered. And for the first time in 17 years, he saw her, Layla Trent, alive, unbroken, human. Neither spoke it. First. Their eyes said everything. Pain, guilt, rage, history. Finally, Kavar stepped forward. I thought you were dead. Layla nodded. You hoped I was. He looked down. I followed orders. I didn't know what would happen. She raised a small holopad and activated it. Screams filled the air. Earth soldiers calling for backup as Veltrax ships retreated. You knew, she whispered. Kavar clenched his fists. I was told Earth's fleet would survive, that we'd return. But you didn't. No, we didn't. They walked into a silent chamber prepared just for this moment. 2 chairs, 1 table. No one else. Layla placed a data crystal on the table. This holds proof of everything. Every lie. Every cover-up. Every Veltrax betrayal. Kavar stared. At it. If you release this, he said, the Empire will fall. Layla leaned forward. It's already falling. The only choice left is how it ends. On Veltrax communication networks, something changed. A broadcast appeared uncensored, uninterrupted. Admiral Layla's face filled every screen in the Empire. My name is Layla Trent, a survivor of Earth's betrayal. We fought beside Veltrax. We bled beside them. Then they left us to die. But we survived. And we watched. And now the truth must be known. She showed the proof battle recordings, abandonment orders, altered files, death counts hidden from history. The Empire gasped. Riots exploded in capital cities. Soldiers threw down their weapons. Young. Veltrax shouted human names they had never been taught in school. In every corner of the Empire. Screens displayed a single message. Earth remembers. Back in the chamber, Kavar placed his own ID badge on the table. I can open the archives, give you everything, help you end this the right way. Layla looked him in the eyes. Why now? Because I've been watching ghosts for years. He said softly, but tonight, I realized I became one. Layla nodded. And handed him a second data crystal. This one holds something else. The cure. Kavar looked confused. Cure? For your people's fear. The truth. All of it. Spread it or burn with it. Above the planet, the ghost fleet uncloaked for the first time. Hundreds of ships. Sleek, silent, ready. But they didn't fire. They just waited. Every empire that had laughed at Earth was now watching Earth show mercy. a strength more terrifying than war. In her final transmission that night, Layla spoke to the galaxy. Humanity does not forget, but we choose justice over revenge. We do not erase history, we write it. Together, or alone. Kavar released the files. The Empire broke, but in breaking, it healed. Asterisk fall or redemption. The Veltrax Dominion, once proud and unshaken, stood on the edge of collapse. Its streets no longer echoed with parades and speeches, but with questions. Children whispered human names as heroes. Soldiers refused to carry weapons, and leaders who once smiled before, cameras now hid behind. Locked doors. But there was still a chance. Not for control, not for power, but for redemption. High above the capital, the ghost fleet floated in silent formation. Dark wings spread across the stars. They could destroy everything. And yet, they didn't move. Inside her command ship, Admiral Layla Trent watched from the observation deck. She wasn't angry anymore. She was tired. Tired of hiding. Tired of loss. Tired of ghosts. Commander Silas Ward approached her. They're expecting an invasion. Layla shook her head. Let them expect whatever they want. We didn't come to conquer. He paused. So why did we come? Layla's voice was soft, but strong. To end the war that never really ended. On the ground, General Kavar stood before the Veltrax Council. He had once worn medals of honor. Now he wore only plain gray. The council chamber was half empty. Many had fled, others resigned, but those who remained listened. I betrayed humanity, Kavar said. So did all of you. Whispers, shock, denial. He raised his voice. But we didn't just betray them. We betrayed ourselves. We taught our people to fear the truth. We built our strength on silence. He placed Layla's data crystal on the central console. And now, they offer peace. After everything, the council leaders stared. And you believe them? Kavar nodded. They had the chance to erase us. Instead, they gave us a choice. Across the Empire, Veltrax civilians began seeing something new. In the sky, small shuttles. Unarmed. They landed in cities and towns without escort. From each ship stepped humans, not soldiers, but doctors, engineers, teachers. People. They came not with bombs, but with open hands. Some Veltrax ran, but others stayed. One small girl stepped forward in a city square and touched the hand of a human medic. No one spoke. But in that moment, the galaxy began to change. The Veltrax military was disbanded. The flags were taken down. The statues were melted. In their place, a memorial was built. Not to victory, not to power. But to the cost of silence. A monument of two hands, one human, one Veltrax grasping one another, not in war, but in forgiveness. Years passed. The ghost fleet no longer hid. Earth was no longer silent. Together, they helped rebuild worlds once destroyed by fear and pride. And while many still carried scars, they also carried hope. In a quiet garden on New Earth, Admiral Layla Trent sat under a tree. She was older now. A child ran up beside her, holding a small drawing. Two ships flying side by side. Is this real? The child asked. Layla smiled gently. It is now. Back in orbit, one last message was broadcast from the flagship of the Ghost Fleet. Layla's voice echoed across the stars. This is how it ends. Not in fire, not in revenge, but in memory. We remember who we are, and who we must never become again.